Alright, so White Knuckle is a game about climbing. It's a game about climbing as fast and as far as you can with one defined goal. Don't let the mass or whatever threat is after you reach you. But what if the goal, instead of running away from the threat, was to find a cozy place to set up your space and just fall asleep? This video is going to be a lot different than my usual videos have been. I shouldn't go much further without saying that this video idea is inspired by a creator named Uncle Lloyd, who has a series where he goes through video games and he ranks each level in the game based on how good of a home they would make, which is just so awesome to me. I love that as a concept. And it's totally a thought I've had when playing games before. Like, what if I just stopped and took a nap right here? Like, if it was me in the game, I'd probably do that. So shout out Uncle Lloyd. I'm not trying to steal the idea. I'm inspired, and I want to make my own version with this niche, with my niche, which is this game. But there are so many chambers in this game. I think we're gonna have to cut it into multiple parts. So this first part is going to be silos, every chamber in silos. And the way Uncle Lloyd does it is he ranks them from worst to best, with the last one being the very best room to stay in. I'm going to change up the format a little bit. I'm going to do a tier list style of ranking instead, so things can be like on par with each other. And our tier list goes from S to F. No E. Fuck E. We don't want an E. And I'm just going to rank off of things like how comfy would it be? How much space is there? Is there enough reasonable space to have like a kitchen, a bathroom, if you wanted to make it an actual like home? And yeah, I shouldn't delay this any longer. Let's get into this. We're starting with the room storage 1 is what it's called in the files. This is the very first deep storage room. All the rooms are gonna have this big open space on the floor like that. If we climb up here, we get to this tube, which I actually think would be great as a sleeping spot. These tubes, I think, that go across multiple chambers, would make great. I just got blown up. Would make great bedrooms. I think there's room to lay your legs all the way to the edge there. You can sleep in here. It's dark, quiet, secluded from the whole world. We come up to this section. I actually really enjoy this section. You get a nice little radio and a box. Let's get rid of those for now. Get rid of those for now. I think this could make a nice kitchen. There's like an indent in the wall and a nice light so you can see what you're doing. You don't even need to install counters or anything. You just make your food on the floor right here. Be perfect. Can I turn the announcer off? Oh my god. As we move up here, you have 2 big platforms here. Space for a lot of good stuff. I don't know what you can do with the spinning platform. I don't think there's much you could do, but overall, good room. I think it's a good room. I think storage 1 gets a solid B. I go to solid B. Now moving on to storage 2. This one is much less awesome. As you can see, there's these platforms around the outside, but there's giant posts in the middle of them. They're not great. You can't do a whole lot with that. I do enjoy the red lighting. I think it feels a bit cozy. It's nice to sleep in a warmer lighting like this. But the only sections that have the warm lighting are like the least livable sections. You got this big platform here, but it's this cold white, just raw lighting. And you can't do anything in the middle here. Nothing. Come up here, there's some space. But again, it's that cold lighting. Everything else has the warm lighting. Storage 2 gets a D. I'm giving it a D. Let's move on up to storage 3. Now this one, very tall. Some of these rooms are going to get very tall. Other than the space on the floor here, there's not much flat space. This is probably one of the biggest platforms in this chamber. It's not that big. You try to sleep here, you probably roll off the edge in your sleep. That's no good. The one that is big has this giant tube going through the middle of it. It just interrupts the whole flow. You do get a chair. That's pretty nice. But what can you do with a chair when you don't have any other rooms? It's not awful, obviously. Like, you can set up shop on these tiny little platforms, and there's several throughout it, but they're just super spread out. The one saving grace of this room is this tube over here. It extends even further back than any of the other tubes. It's like a man cave, if you want it to be a man cave, or you got a grub friend. It's silent. Listen to that. It's like soundproof from the rest of the world. You get only your footsteps. This would be the perfect bedroom And it's small. You only get one person in here. But it'd be the perfect bedroom. And so this 2-bedroom does save it a bit, I think. But all things considered, with the whole thing spread out, not very much space, I gotta put it in C. I think it balances out to a C. Now storage 4, this one I think is a treat. You have a slightly wider space down here than we've been getting. As long as you can climb up, they take a little bit of know-how with the climbing, but assuming you have the skill for it, you get a little space here. Can't do a whole lot with it because there's a big vent in the way. But if you get up here, 2 mirrored rooms. You have a little walkway here. I would put a kitchen here. Doesn't this almost looks like an oven? It looks like an oven. And bathroom could go over there. And with these two pretty big flat rooms here, we'll move up to the 3rd level, which is the bedroom. Can you imagine just a little bed here, right in the center? Like a Minecraft bed. Think of a Minecraft bed right in the middle here. I think this room works surprisingly well. It's not perfect. Everything's a little bit spread out, like a little too spread out for me, but it works. I think storage 4 is going to be our first A tier. I would sleep here. I would get a home here. This is a bit of a downgrade. You have the wide space, just like storage 4, which is nice. It's nice to have that wide space. You can do a lot of stuff there. You can store some stuff. You could do a dance floor, maybe. But as we go up, you'll learn that that's kind of the only space you have. There's these catwalks that go through the middle, but you can't put much on a catwalk because it's wide enough to just walk on, and that's kind of it. So in terms of the flat space, there's really only the floor. And you can't do much with just the floor. You could sleep there, bare essentials, but it's just boring. And for boring, I'm going to give it a D. So storage 6 is a fun story. You get 4 separate columns going up, or empty columns. You get a little bit of a barnacle infestation, but I think it's small enough you can look past it. Up each section, they kind of meet in the middle and create their own little room. You get rooms like this on both sides where you could set some stuff up here. Some kitchen utensils and some utilities, you know. And then you could maybe put the bathroom on the other side. The other part of this that's the real seller for me is this vent. If you enter through the little vent that you have access to, if you get your hands on this little place, you get this extremely secluded, lit by one pretty warm, pretty dim light. It's just, you feel safe. You feel safe. You feel cozy. I would sleep in here 100%. Because of that sleeping area alone, storage 6 is going to get another A tier. Storage 7, on the other hand, not quite so awesome. You get a space down here at the floor. As we go up, you'll see that's kind of all you get. Unless you want to use this tiny walkway you have around on like 3 different levels. You can't really put much here. And honestly, the only space you do have access to, being the floor here, is so bright. Look at all of the light that is just beaming at your face here. You don't want to live here. As your realtor, you don't want this space. Storage 7 is going to get a D tier from me. Storage 8, I think, has some pretty good potential. When you leave the ground floor, you get these 2 platforms on the other side. They're pretty small, but you know, you could use them for like closet space. You get 2 pretty large platforms either side of this post here, which could make good, like, you put a bed here or a TV, a living room. You can watch TV over here. What detracts from this one is this moving pillar. It's loud. It goes back and forth. I don't really know how to turn it off. You know, decent space. You get good space at the top here too. But the machinery is just, that's gonna get annoying. Storage 8, I'm gonna give it a B tier because I think still good potential for living. It's loud. This one is not dissimilar to Storage 8. If you make your way up here, you have bigger platforms than on Storage 8. But it's a bit high. Like you have to traverse pretty far up to even get to these rooms. And that's not the end of it. We have to traverse even further. But if we make our way up here, you'll see tiny rooms, pretty small rooms. And then at the top here, we have similar rooms to Storage 8 at the end. This one just doesn't strike me as anything special. I think this one's a solid C. Like, very middle of the road. It's got some big rooms, but it's very empty and it's very spread out. I just wish it had a little bit more and it was a little more condensed. Now we're on Storage 10. We've done 10 of these already. As you can see, there used to be a ladder here. I don't know what happened to it. Each chamber here has its own story, which is nice. It gives it some historical value, but won't mean much for trying to live here. You have the ground floor, obviously. As you make your way up very far, I have to say, you'll get to the second floor. There's only really 2 floors here, but I appreciate the second floor. There's a bright light here if you want to have your workspace in front of the light, and then behind the light, you have a very narrow shadow that you can put a bed and sleep in darkness. But those 2 rooms, very separated. You got paneling falling off the walls. It just doesn't... It's not great. I'm gonna give it a C as well. I think I'm getting C vibes. It feels C. Now here's Storage 11. We did a room that was similar to this one before, but this one does not have the long silent tube for a bedroom. So we're already detracting points for that. I also believe this one has less space. I believe this is the biggest platform that we have access to in this room. There's a tiny platform. Nothing in the middle. There's no platforms in the middle. Tiny platform here. It's just not a lot of floor space. There are a couple pipes in here that you could climb into that would make decent bedrooms, but they don't go as deep as the last one, and they're not as silent. This is just very... If you're going to try to live somewhere here, this place does not have what you need to make a home, I feel. So Storage 11 is going in D tier. This one's juicy. Storage 12. You guys got to hear me out on this because... I'll explain myself first. Very nice round room at the bottom. I believe this is larger than any of the floors we've had up to this point. You get a nice indent in the wall here. You could use this for really anything. It's got these secluded corners. You could make it a bathroom if you want. Not much else to use. It doesn't go very far in. But as we make our way up, you'll see there's an extremely secluded room here with a vending machine, anything you could ever ask for. You can't even see out of the room from here. It's so far in. Get rid of the radio. It's silent. Other than the, I think, comforting buzz of the vending machine. That room alone would sell me on this place, but that's not even all. If you get your hands on this place, you get another ultra secluded room. So far back, you can put a bed in the corner or in the center, wherever you want. It's your place. You get 2 of these rooms, giant floor space, and even after all that, you get more floor space at the top here. This fenced area. You could have a pet. You get a pet grub. He's not going to walk off the edge. There's a fence in the way. Perfect. I think this room, Storage 12, is our first S tier. Now we move on to Storage 13. Similar. Very similar layout. At first glance, you might think it's the same room. You get several more indents in the wall here. I believe you get 8 of these. You get 8 indents in the wall. I don't know what you could do with them, but I'm sure you can figure something out. 8 bathrooms, maybe? 1 bedroom, 8 bathroom house. And yes, you heard me right. 1 bedroom. There is a secluded room here, and I think it's darker. It's darker than the others. But there's only 1. You only get 1. So, while similar to 12, I think this one goes down a rank, at least. Yeah, let's move it down a rank. Storage 13 is just an A tier. Storage 14 is a big step up in terms of size from the last 2. This is huge. It goes way high. You have a chair again. You have a chair here. This is a pretty decent spot. I'm sure if you could get this door open, there'd be an awesome space in there, but I don't know how to get it open. So I'm not going to sell you on that part of it. As we move up further, get another decently sized platform here. This one takes a bit more climbing skills, so maybe it's for more of my experienced buyers. You get another fenced area here, although there is an empty spot here, so you might want to install like a baby gate or something if you plan to have a pet. And overall, yeah, I think it's a good amount of space. It's a bit spread out. I think that gets a B. I'm gonna put that one in B too. You guys stay with me, guys. We got 3 left of the deep storage. This is deep storage 15. You get the bottom area as per usual. As we move up, you get a little room here. I mean, I guess it's not too small. This is pretty decently sized. It's a bit bright. You got a headlight right over it, just beaming down. Let's move up to our 3rd floor, which is also a bit bright. They both have these lights. It's not terrible, but, you know, it's not great either. There's several other rooms I would much rather have. So storage 15, I'm going to put it in C tier. It's very average. Now starting off in storage 16, we can immediately see there's a very sunken in vibe for the floor here that I very much like, actually. I like how these 2 rooms feel like they're at floor level, and then you have a lower room. I like that a lot. Speaking of these 2 rooms, you get 2 pretty big rooms. Look at all this floor space. There's a giant thing here that comes with the place. I don't know how to get it out, but this side, very empty. Look at that. Other than those 2 rooms, not much else up. Just catwalks. In terms of sleeping situations, I would set up in here, honestly. You get the nice warm red lighting. If you set up parallel to the wall here, I don't think you're in danger of falling off. And even if you do, it's not too high. You won't hurt yourself. I approve of storage 16 as a house, and I would put it in B tier. Let's put it in B tier. Storage 17 is going off of the same base. We have the sunken floor here, which I appreciate. It splits into 4 passageways, but I think it's around the same amount of square footage added up, because these don't go as far in. Now, what detracts from this room is the sound. You have this giant spinning propeller-like thing. I don't even know what it's used for. That's just constantly kind of grinding and moving. If you try to sleep in the red light down here, I'm sure you're getting the echoes of that sound all night. It just doesn't seem very comforting. And we're not just looking for a house. We're looking for a home. And comfort is part of a home. So storage 17, I'm going to knock it down to a C. It had potential, but it lost it. It lost it with that sound. Alright, now everyone, take a breather. We're taking a breath in. This is the break room of substructure 17. It's pretty small, clearly. Just that hole marks the top of the room. But don't let the size deceive you, because I think this place is great. You get 4 very dark and secluded corners. I'm shocked how little light gets into these corners for how open they are. If it were me personally, I would put up these boxes as like an extra little wall. Get into this corner, just knock out. I'm going to sleep in this place. It comes with a desk and a chair and a computer. You get a computer. Not much on it. I think they left the parental controls on because you can't really do anything. You can't leave this program, whatever this is. But you get a computer. It's pretty good. So despite the size, I think the break room is our second S tier. And with that, we're moving on to air exchange. Now I will say, there's a lot less potential in this section for homes, I think, because generally these places are a lot more open and have a lot more mechanical machinery going on. But I won't taint your perspective already. Let's just get into this. This is Air 01. We have some fans going, but they're going pretty slow. I think this would actually be some nice airflow. It wouldn't get too hot in here, thankfully. At least I don't think so. If we come up to here, there's a little bit of a bug problem, but, you know, not something a little rebar can't fix. I think this is a clear bedroom. This is the only spot in the room with the dim, warm lighting. And if we move up a little further, we get to where I think you could have a nice kitchenette or something. We'll move up to our last floor. About the same size, I think. This could be used for anything, storage, bathroom, anything you want. It's just a bit open. I think we could have gotten some more rooms in here or condensed it a little bit. Either way, it loses some points. But I still think this room deserves a B. Air 2. I'm not going to waste your time here. And I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, this place does not look good. Broken catwalk. You got a fan here, maybe a little bit of airflow. In terms of floors and ground space to actually put your furniture and everything, absolutely nothing. You have the ground floor and that's it. Everything up here is basically a waste of space until you get to the very tippy top, where you get a tiny room here, a few boxes to clutter up your space some more. I don't like this room. I think we're gonna give it an F, because I just can't see how this would make a good home for anyone. Now, Air 3. Off the bat, looks pretty similar to Air 2. We got a fan that you pretty much have to get on, which is a hazard, by the way. I didn't mention that on Air 2. Now, you've heard of waking up on the wrong side of the bed. Imagine if the bed woke up on the wrong side of the room. This is a moving platform, and it's about the only thing this room has going for it. Above Air 2, obviously. You can move around, but it doesn't seem very practical, does it? Also, it's not very big. I don't know if a bed would even fit this way, and if you fit it this way, you risk rolling off the edge. I don't see... It's a bit loud, too, yeah. I don't see this room doing a whole lot for me as a home, but it's a fun gimmick with the moving platform, so I'm going to give it above Air 2 at a D tier. Now, we got to get through these rooms a little bit quicker because these are becoming much larger. We start off Air 4 in this large, dark silo, and if you can manage to get your way up to the top here, I believe this would make the perfect bedroom. Do you not think so? It's so dark. Look at how dark it is. It's dark, it's quiet, it's as far away from the machinery in this room as you can get. So if you can make your way up here, good bedroom, but we have to consider the fact that you probably can't get up there. The ladder up there's broke. You need some kind of extra item to get up there. You have these transitional pipes, which wouldn't be terrible bedrooms either. They're pretty dark. But once you get into here, this has danger written all over it. Also, loud. I feel like I need to talk so much louder for you guys to be able to hear me. Once again, you get to these tubes. Not a terrible place to set up, but it's small. Let's also consider if you're living in this space that's getting blasted by a fan the whole time, it's gonna be cold. That's too much airflow. It's probably freezing in here. So Air 4, I'm gonna give C tier because it has a quiet little bedroom, but it's hard to get to. I think it balances out to a C. Air 5 has pretty much all the bad parts of Air 4 with none of the good except for this quiet little tube here that you could rest in. Now, I am partial to a quiet little tube that you can rest in, so I don't believe I'm going to give this an F, but Air 5 is still going to get like a D. I'm putting it in D. Now, Air 6, you start in this giant shaft. Again, cold, dangerous. You got a bug in here. And as you work your way further up into the actual juice of this building, you got a bit of an infestation going on. Not looking good so far, but if you can make your way through into this vent and up into here, you get the first actual bedroom so far. Pre-furnished and everything. You have just enough ventilation going on here and an actual mattress. A real mattress. This is just the coziest. The sound's a little off. You get some like noise canceling AirPods maybe, and this place would just be the absolute best. Unfortunately, we have to consider the room as a whole, and everything out here is just god awful. I guess you can't leave out there's this big open space here as well, but I don't know. It's not doing it for me. So that was Air 6, and Air 6 is gonna get a C tier. Now Air 7, off the bat, you will think that this is going to score pretty low. Because in terms of danger levels, absolutely terrifying. Look at this. I'm being pulled to my death by a grindy fan saw blade thing. Very dangerous. But you only have to do it once. And once you're through with it, you get to the sauce of what makes this room amazing, in my opinion. Once you're into the vents, this becomes like a party house almost. You have this awesome room here, which admittedly can't be used for much, but there's some good space on the floor here. It's all dim lighting, which I love in a home. If you make your way up here, you get to another real bedroom. A better bedroom, in my opinion. It's bigger, the lighting's better, another mattress, marked by our Lord and Savior, Holly. And that's not even all. If you navigate around the hallways that are these vents, there's even a second room in here that you could make into another bedroom. Maybe a kitchen. Now, once you leave the home, you'll realize that there's more very dangerous open space out here, and we do have to take that into consideration. But I think the absolute quality of that vent house that we were just in still makes it an A tier. It can't be S for all the danger, but it's just a beautiful home. Let's take in the beauty of this open space here, because this is the only good part of this room. That's all the good we're gonna get. As we move up, you'll see there's one large tube going up to the top of this very cold, very dangerous, very infested, look at all of these barnacles here, room. I mean, you can't do anything about them. There's just too many, and they'll hurt you. It's no good. You can't put anything in the tubes. You can't put anything here because it's all angled downwards. It's just a terrible home. The saving graces are the ground floor and the fact that you can turn the air off if you want to. And so for Air 8, it's a D. It's a D. I can't give it any higher than that. And same thing kind of goes for Air 9. This is essentially the same deal, but it's 2 tubes. You can choose which tube you want to die in. And if you remember, one of the saving graces of Air 8 was that you could choose to turn the air on and off. This one turns on and off with its own free will, which is unpredictable and uncomfortable. I don't like that my home has its own, like, a mind of its own. I don't like that. So Air 9 is going to be an F tier. Flat out. Like, it's just like Air 8, but it's worse. So, Air Exchange Room 10 brings back the moving platforms, which is, Other than the moving platforms, there's not much space here, just like with the last moving platform room, and I'm not feeling anything from this. I think this is going to be another D tier. Because it's so... Ugh. Now, Air 11. This is our last air exchange room, thank God. This is just a hellscape for trying to make a home. You have this nice starting area, which is dimly lit and pretty open, but everything beyond that, I mean, look at this. That's not a home. You can't live in that. It's a giant open vent that's infested with barnacles, has no livable space, and spits you out at this wimpy little room here. And that's the whole room. There's no saving grace. Absolute F tier. Very dangerous. I wouldn't put my worst enemy in that room. Shattered Chambers. This is gonna be... I like this section. This section has some pretty good homes and some pretty terrible homes, but nowhere near as bad as Air Exchange had. Welcome to Shattered Chambers 1. This starts with a pretty open level, and let me say off the bat, this room has so many levels. There's like 5 or 6 levels to this room. You start on this pretty basic one. You have a cozy little dark room up here. The navigation's a little bit hard, but it's not terrible. There is a crusher, which is loud and risky. If this isn't a risk you want to take, this house isn't for you. But there's only one crusher, so if you can avoid it, I think that's the move. I don't think it detracts too much, because you can avoid it pretty easy. You get a dark room down there, but it is right next to the crusher, so it'd be pretty loud. Our main focus is on these rooms, the ones up here that are far enough from the crusher. I think they're pretty quiet. They're not very dangerous. There's a little nook up here you could use for reading. There's not much space, so you couldn't really use it for anything else, but yeah, I think a reading room is what this is. Now you get some dangerous goop here. This we haven't seen the goop before. This goop also not super fun. I'm gonna say all the space considered, this room is a B, but it is a little dangerous. So if you're worried about the danger, you don't want to go with Shattered 1. Shattered 2 is this giant upward shaft that slants in all different kinds of angles. This has a similar problem to some past rooms where there's not much usable floor space. Even these flat platforms are at an angle. You can't put much on them. Now, where you could take advantage of these rooms are these dark crevices in the wall. I think a bed could fit in here. If you make your way up to this one's even darker and bigger. And I think this would make a great place to have a bed. It's secluded, it's comfy, that's about it. Other than those dark crevices, there's not much going on. But the dark crevices are good. They have potential. So I'm going to give them a C. Now Shattered 3, I have nothing different to say about it. It's the same deal. You have dark crevices, and that is it, really. Shattered 3 is the same. It's a C. Shattered 4 starts us out in this amazingly wide open room with so much space for whatever you want. You could have a basketball court in here and still have space to use for other things. We move up to these flat platforms. Could be maybe some like some dining areas or just a spot to chill. Moving on from this giant room, if we come up here, this I think is the ideal master bedroom. Huge. And the focus is on the center of the room. You put a giant bed in the middle here. You got some grub friends that you could put them to bed right there together. They're buddies. This is the ideal master bedroom. It's giant, it's secluded, very quiet. Another big room here. Do whatever you want with it. I don't care. It's your house. And as we move up, there's even more space. This place is the mansion of White Knuckle. This room has no danger. It's pretty easy to traverse around, and the rooms are huge. You cannot pass up this opportunity of a mansion, essentially. Shattered 4 is an S tier, no doubt. Now moving on to Shattered 5, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this room is not promising. You got an infestation here. You're gonna take care of him. The whole room is essentially this. If you just take a look at this, it's kind of the whole room. It'll try to deceive you with its size. There's a lot of space here vertically, but it doesn't do a whole lot with it other than crushers and like death traps, essentially. And very loud. Even if you could find space here to relax, you wouldn't be relaxing because it's so loud. The only livable space in this room is this quiet room here and the quiet room at the beginning that I skipped over. Yeah, that's gonna be a D tier for me. Following in similar footsteps, but a much better room in my opinion, is Shattered 6. You have this dangerous path up through a bunch of crushers, but if you just take this little vent, you hear that? Other than our infestation here, the crushers very drowned out. You don't get much of the sound over here. Occasionally you'll get a mattress here, I believe. I'm not seeing it this time, but I do think you can get a mattress here sometimes. But even without the mattress, this makes a great bedroom. It's very dim. We can work our way up. It's a bit of a climb, but if you can make it to the second level, you don't even have to go near the crushers. There's a separate room here. And if you keep going up the safe path, you can get another safe room here. Now, admittedly, you don't want to go too close to this edge. It's a little scary, I understand. But there's a lot of space here, aside from the rooms with the crushers in them. That's going to score it pretty high. I think Shattered 6 is going to get an A from me. Shattered 7, it's okay. It's fine. You get space at the bottom there. This entire section is almost unusable because it's flooded with this goop. You do get space here, but it's very hard to traverse, and it's very vertical space. And then we get back into a goop covered room. The goop hurts, I should add. The goop does hurt, so you're not gonna want to use this space. I'm a professional, so I know how to traverse spaces like these, but as your realtor, I don't suggest going anywhere near this area. So far this is scoring pretty low for me, but there is a little bit of a saving grace with this vent over here. If you can make your way up here, there is a pretty quiet, secluded room back here. Now, it's not a lot of space. You can sleep in here and you'll be cozy, but really, you can't do a whole lot with it. By the thinnest of margins, it is a saving grace, but it doesn't help too much. I think Shattered 7 is still a C tier at best. Now, Shattered 8, take in this first section while it lasts. And I know I've said similar stuff like that to that before, and it's because you should take it in while it lasts, because this is all this room has to offer. If we turn to everything else the room has to offer, it is a giant vertical shaft over some goop, and that is the entire room. There's a tiny wimpy room here, and this strip of the ground right here is essentially all this room has to offer. I would not recommend this room to really anyone, but you gotta admit that there is some room at the beginning that's not terrible. So Shattered 8, it can squeeze in a D tier. It's not quite F. Now on to Shattered 9, you have this very sunken floor vibe here, ground floor vibe, and a nice little reading nook. Again, I don't think this is quite enough space to sleep in, but it's a cute little nook if you need to get away from the world. I should warn you, there are 2 crushers here, but they're in their own space. I think you can ignore them. Worst case, if you have to go with this room, they're ignorable. You still get good space up here, maybe another basketball court if you really want a basketball court. I don't know why I'm really on the basketball court train, but like, you can have a basketball court here. As we move up, there's less space. It's not a terrible overview of your whole place if you just want to be up here and spy on some people. This room, I'm going to give a B tier. Alright, fuck, we're almost through this. There's so many rooms. Shattered 10, how is it gonna be like to live here? This is similar. We've had a room like this, a room or two like this, where I don't think there's much usable space here other than what's in the nooks and crannies of the room. But what's in the nooks and crannies is not terrible. It's at a bit of an angle, but if you go to this lower angle, set up a sleeping bag here, get knocked the fuck out. It's a good room. I like this room. We can't give it very high because the nooks and crannies are really all that it has to offer in terms of space. I do think it's less angular than Shattered 2 and 3, the other ones with the nooks and crannies. So I'm gonna give it a B. I think it scores a little higher. We're done. This is the last room. I can go eat something. I'm so hungry. I should have eaten before I did this. I'm like lightheaded because I'm so hungry. There's a decent amount of space on the floor, but that's all that this room really is going to offer you. It's just another vertical shaft up with no floors. It doesn't stop anywhere to give you a place to like make food, set up a bed, and there's no other caveats to it. It is just the ground floor. That's all it has to offer. So Shattered 11, we're throwing that in D tier, and that concludes the list. Oh my god, I feel dizzy. Why do I feel dizzy? This is the highest production and longest video that I've ever done. Everything you just listened to was recorded in one take. Like, all the voice you've been hearing has been me sitting here right now today doing this, and that was a lot of talking. So I'm gonna go eat something, but yeah, here's our full list. I don't personally know what it looks like right now because I don't have it in front of me. I haven't physically made the list yet, but if you disagree with me, tell me in the comments. If you agree with me, you can tell me in the comments. I'll take any sort of notes. I'd like to know what you guys think in terms of the livability of the rooms here. Another shout out to Uncle Lloyd, because this is not I didn't create this idea. He has a series on it. Video Game Realtor, I believe it's called. Good series, great series. I recommend specifically the Portal 2 video is what I watched that inspired this. good video. I fully recommend that you go watch that. I just wanted to do my own take on it with my favorite game right now, White Knuckle. And if this video turns out good, I'll do a part 2. Pipeworks. We'll do Pipeworks next. If we can do a part 2, we'll do Pipeworks. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Please subscribe. Do all that good stuff if you want to. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.